Hello, it's Kyler with FollowHook. In this lesson, we are talking about ConvertKit sequences. So what is a ConvertKit sequence? It's essentially a series of emails that auto-send on your behalf to potential customers, existing customers, etc. So what's an example? Let's say you have an opt-in form on your homepage, similar to this one on our homepage. When a potential customer enters their name and email, you can have FollowHook automatically tag them and then have that tag synced with a ConvertKit tag, which then puts that person into a ConvertKit sequence. And for the record, you can have that same scenario start a ConvertKit automation, which is even more advanced in the sequence, but we cover that in another lesson. So back to sequences. Let's go ahead and sign into your ConvertKit dashboard. This assumes that you already have a ConvertKit account. If you don't have that set up, I'd watch the previous lessons so that you're at the same place we are right now. On the top, click on Sequences, and then click New Sequence. Give your sequence a name. You can change this name later on, and then click Create Sequence. Perfect. Now when you create a new sequence, ConvertKit automatically adds the first email for you. And it sets it to draft mode and tells it to send after 1 day. So we're going to change this up. But let's quickly go through what this stuff means. Obviously, we all know what a draft is. If we were to publish this email, it would be live. When to send after a day? Well, in the example I just gave about the opt-in form on my homepage, I want this first email to go out right away. So I would click the pencil to edit that, change that to a 0, and you'll see that ConvertKit recognizes that as an immediate send. Now, if I were to publish this email would be ready to go, and as soon as someone was added to this sequence, they would get this first email. You can preview the email by sending yourself an email. Very handy. I recommend doing this all the time so you can see how it looks on your phone or on your computer, and you can preview it in a browser. And then filters I'm not going to go into now, but this allows you to add some further requirements or rules to this email. So email subject is very straightforward. Now, jumping out of ConvertKit and just into the land of marketing, you want a subject that really makes someone want to open your email. Sometimes the subject can be one of the most difficult tasks. Some of you might know that I'm an independent filmmaker. And one of the most difficult things to do when writing a script is to boil that down into what's called a log line, which is a one-sentence description of the entire story. And that's kind of what you're doing with an email subject. You're boiling everything down to a subject that makes people want to open your email and read the rest of it. So you got to really think these through. And same goes for the content. I say only put content in an email that would captivate you if you were reading the same email from someone else. I always am cutting out a lot of the extra words and verbiage that I put in emails to try to make them very concise and make the content really crackle and pop with meaning so that the purpose of the email is achieved. Typically, you want an email to either nurture a relationship or convert a cold customer to a buying customer, etc. And if it's not doing that, it's essentially a waste of time. And one more little note on the marketing side. The first email that goes out, especially to a cold market, shouldn't be a sales email. It should be a relationship email, a personal email. You need them to bond with you. You need them to trust you because they're not just buying your product or service. They're buying into you and what they think about you. And there's a lot of training online that you can Google and watch and help yourself grasp this a little better. But just remember, it's not just about the sale. It's about the relationship. So make your emails follow that pattern. So when I'm done with this email, and of course it has normal text editing tools, I could click Add Another Email. And here you'll see that it defaults to 1 day after the previous email. I can change that right here. I can have it send 3 days later, etc. And then also you see that I have Sunday as an exclusion day. You can do that with any of these days. And if you're wondering what time of day this email is going to go out, remember that's under your general settings. I'm going to click Save All and then go to Settings. And here I can specify what time of day my emails are generally sent out. So I'm going to jump back to Sequences. I'm going to click on my sequence. And so I can continue adding email, and I can add images, the text I want, specify the days, etc. So that's really the basic nuts and bolts of a sequence. And we covered this in the first lesson, but if you want to change the layout of your email, go ahead and click Save All if you've done any changes, and then go up to your profile icon and click on Account Settings and then Email Templates. Text Classic and Modern are the basic templates that ConvertKit provides you. And so you can change these and send the emails to yourself and see what they look like. And then you can also create a custom email template, which we cover in another lesson. So I'm going to jump back to Sequences, back to my sequence, and assuming everything looks good, I'm ready to go. A final tip when building a sequence. Sometimes depending on how a person is added to a sequence in ConvertKit, when they're done with the sequence, they might be removed from it. So if this is an email sequence that you're going to continually add emails to and you want people to get those, what you can do is add an email and set the send day to be 999 days after the last email. And then as you add new emails, you can simply set them to the correct time so that they continue going out as normal. And also, if you want to drag the order of your emails around, simply click on this and drag it around. So I really like the ConvertKit sequence interface. I think it makes a lot of sense and it's easy to use. Now you might be wondering, okay, so back to your initial example, if I have an opt-in form on my homepage and they opt in to FollowHook, how do I make that work with ConvertKit? That's covered in the next couple lessons, so I will see you there soon. Hey, thank you so much for being a FollowHook customer. We really appreciate you.